Hello, ladies. Happy Thursday. I hope you're having an amazing week. I'm having a really good one myself, which I'll probably tell you a story maybe further on down the road after I've processed all of this, but it's been kind of a rough, like, month or two. But I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I was wondering, though, for you guys, as you grow older, like, do you feel like time just speeds up, like it goes faster? Because that's the way I feel. I'd love to know your thoughts. I feel like my life is just flying by right now, and I'm loving it because I really do love this time in the life of my kids and what I get to be doing right now. I get to be coaching, which I just love. But at the same time, I have kind of this tension where oh, I just want to stay here for a little longer. I want to actually be present more, which maybe that's the work I need to do. Maybe I need to be present more. Just my thoughts. All right, love to know yours. Okay, so let's dive in. On Monday, I posed a couple questions to all of you in the group. I wanted to know your love language, or if you even knew about love languages, if you had read the Gary Chapman books, what your thoughts were about the love languages. I got quite a few comments. It sounds like it's pretty well known. I figured that. I find in most Christian communities it's well known. But here's one thing I thought was interesting. Just as I had suspected, yes, love languages are well known, and most of you knew your love language, but I didn't see a lot of physical touch as your love language, which I find most women, that's not everyone. I have found a couple, but that's not usually their main love language. Is that interesting? Um, so, and honestly, I wasn't looking at percentages. I just wanted to see what your thoughts were about the book and how you had implemented it in your life, if you had, basically. And in that video, I promised you I was going to connect the love languages to weight loss. So that's what I'm going to do today. So first, I'm going to give you my opinion on the love languages. Now remember, this is just my opinion. Take what you want from what I say. The only reason I'm giving my opinion is for you to think, for you to start asking yourself, what do you truly believe? So I feel so about the love languages. Here's what I do like about them, okay? They help people bring awareness to emotions because that's what love is. Love is an emotion. And emotions are beautiful things. They're actually God-given. But what I really love is it's not just what I really love, but not just that. It's this book brings attention to a very important emotion, love. And God is love. And the way I see it, the more we feel and are in love, the closer we are to God, the more connected we are. Now, He's always there, but sometimes we put up those barriers. When we get into that feeling of love, that's when we get closer. We can feel God, hear God clear. So, helping people understand love and how to create more love in their lives, I'm all for it. I think that's amazing. And I think it's awesome to know your love language and even to know your partner's or your kids' love languages. But this is where I kind of veer off from enjoying the books. Love is an emotion. And you can't make people feel emotions. You can't make them feel a certain emotion, right? Here is a prime example. Your husband thinks you'll feel love by buying you chocolates for Valentine's Day because you feel your love language is gifts. You love gifts. And he's like, yes, I'm going to buy her chocolates for Valentine's Day. I know her love language is gifts. And you open the package and you start fuming. Because guess what? You've been trying to cut out sugar. You've been trying to cut down on sugar. And in your brain is spinning and you go, he knows this. He knows I have not, or that I've been trying to stay away from sugar. He knows I'm working on this. Does he not care? How totally inconsiderate is he being? See, he thought he could make you feel loved by your love language of gifts. But guess what? You're upset. You're not feeling love. And that is because he cannot make you feel a certain way. He may have influence, yes, but he does not have that control. And neither do we. We don't have that control. Every person outside of us gets to decide how they feel. Just like you get to decide how you feel. And this is where the love languages can really get us into a lot of trouble. When we focus on, these languages, doing these certain ones to make someone feel a certain way, or requiring someone else to do something to make us feel a certain way. No, you get to decide if you feel that way, whether that person does that or not. Now, it may be a little bit easier to feel that way when you have a gift or someone says something nice, like some words of affirmation. But ultimately, you choose. You get to decide. So I went to the Focus on the Family website, and there was an article by Gary Chapman himself who wrote the 5 love languages. And this is the exact sentence from the article. Each person has a primary love language that we must learn to speak if we want that person to feel loved. We must learn to speak if we want that person to feel loved. And this is where I don't agree with the book. Because that person gets to decide if they feel loved. It's not my responsibility. If I try to make it my responsibility within my control, I will feel very out of control, because that's God's work and that person's work, not mine. Now, some of you might be like, well, Amanda, you're just taking away all responsibility. No, I do believe we influence the way people feel, and we do have to be thoughtful and considerate about other people's emotions. But I can do the most wonderful things for my husband, and he still may not feel loved. Because it's not within my control. And if I'm doing all these wonderful things for my husband and he's not feeling love, and he basically says he's not feeling loved, then I'm going to take that I'm doing something wrong, that I'm wrong. And this is what I see so often with all my clients. They take it on themselves that I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I can't do this. Which you can't. It's not within your control. What was interesting, I was looking at more articles too. I wanted to see what were some of the things that people were writing about the love languages. And this quote comes from another one too. Your love language can also change occasionally. For instance, you've had a bad day at work. You may prefer a hug from your partner rather than an encouraging word. Do you see the problem with this? We need to almost be mind readers of our loved ones so we know which love language they need and how to react so we can control how they feel. That is a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure on a human that has struggles to even give themselves love. Right? So, here's where the love languages come into weight loss. Okay? You know, we're not so good at managing our own emotions. How do we think we can, manage other people's emotions? Well, that's a point. I think it's awesome to start to understand how you feel loved. Because it's your responsibility to feel that way, to have that emotion, to create that for yourselves, to get it from God, to look to God to get more of it. God is love, and that means we always have that emotion of love available to us because God is always with us. But we need to decide by what we think as to if we're actually going to feel that love. And once we start deciding and making decisions, and we show love to ourselves, when we create love for ourselves and what we're doing, guess what happens? The love pours out. The love pours out in your actions, not only to yourself, but to others. In how you show up in this world, the light you shine. Because guess what? You're not trying to control something that you don't have control of. You're just influencing them, which I talked about before. You're influencing them in the most positive way with more of God, more of His light. So, yeah, this is exactly why the love languages are tied to weight loss. These actually have quite a bit to do with weight loss. Love is huge. Because love, which really means being very close to God, during a time when you are going to grow and stretch yourself, and I don't mean physically, I mean mentally, emotionally, because that's what weight loss is, that's important. You need to know how to give yourself love, take action out of love to lose weight, to maintain a healthy tempo. And here's what I find. Women don't know how to speak their love language to themselves. So then they use food to kind of fill that void, to fill that lack of feeling love. But once they start understanding, oh yeah, this is my love language, and I could see how I'm not giving this to myself. And once they start implementing the love language, like they're giving themselves words of affirmation, they're giving themselves quality time, they're giving themselves gifts, and so on, that's when they feel full and empowered, and they're not searching for food, for the quick feel good. Hopefully that will replace that love. And you guys, that's all very unconscious. We don't really know we're doing it until we really look at it. So if you want to use the love languages, use them on yourself. Yes, know your kids, know your spouses. Don't be afraid to use theirs either. Because yes, you can influence them. But get yourself into the emotion of love. The more you do it, the more it will spill out to your husband, to your kids, to your coworkers. And here's my warning. If you think it's selfish to use these love languages and focus on yourself, let me just say one thing. Isn't it selfish to be focused on how miserable you feel by the lack of love and being so focused inward? What if actually you take those few minutes that you show yourself love? What if that actually saves you hours of ruminating and judging yourself and eating and being frustrated? What could you do with those hours of all of that junk? How could you apply that to actually giving more love to others? All right, ladies, I want to know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? How? I'm totally up. It is totally okay not to agree with me. I think God gives us all different insights and opinions and perspectives, and we need to start listening to one another. Also, you guys, I want to invite you. If you are, if you've been through my Empower challenges and you are still struggling, you are struggling with weight, you're struggling with loving the temple that God gave you. If you're ruminating in frustration and self-doubt, get on a call with me. Let's talk about this. It's time to be done with that. I have the solutions. I know how to help you with this. Cut it. Start living a life of love and joy and peace and patience and kindness and goodness and self-control. All right? All right, ladies. I will talk to you again soon. Bye now.